Hi everyone, I just got to interview Martha Nussbaum, the legendary philosopher and legal scholar who has not only written like a zillion books on all sorts of moral and legal controversies, but whose works also have just been very influential in shaping contemporary philosophical discourse. And I want to share with you some of the things that came up in the interview. And there were a lot of them. So we talked a lot about animal sentience, which animals and which organisms have the right kind of sentience in order for them to deserve legal and moral standing. So we chatted with her about how to draw the line between those living beings that deserve moral protection and maybe those that don't, or at least not in the same way. We also talked quite a bit about companion animals. What are our moral obligations to those animals with whom we share a domestic familial bond, and how should we interact with them in order to not accidentally harm them in spite of our best intentions. We talked about a lot of other things like habitat destruction, about the importance of recognizing the fact that animals all over the world live under some form of human influence, even if it's not very direct. But by far, one of the most important themes that came up in our discussion is the topic of predation. Now, Dr. Nussbaum has recently been in the news for her views about the ethics of predation. And the reason is that she takes a really unique view on our relationship to the natural world vis-a-vis predator-prey relations. Now, Nussbaum argues that there are instances in which humans have a moral obligation to interfere in predator-prey relations in order to protect the prey species from the predator species. So think about your classic example of a lion that is hunting and kills in a very brutal way a gazelle. Now, Dr. Nussbaum argues that the gazelle is not there for the purpose of being killed by the lion. The gazelle exists to be a gazelle, to pursue his or her capabilities as a gazelle, and so maybe we have an obligation to prevent the gazelle from being torn to pieces and becoming food for the lion. Now, she recognizes that this introduces a really tricky element because, of course, the other side of the equation is that the lion is also there just to be a lion. And part of what it means to be a lion is to hunt and kill and eat animals like gazelles. And so Professor Nussbaum lands in this really interesting position where she says, on the one hand, we ought to protect the gazelle in order for the gazelle to be able to live a gazelle life. But at the same time, we need to be able to figure out how we can allow the lion an outlet for the expression of its predator instincts. And so humans might have a responsibility to do both of those things at the same time, while also ensuring that the gazelles don't over-reproduce. So there's a lot of discussion in her latest book about the importance of birth control and population control in relation to animals, especially animals in the wild. Anyways, I really encourage you to check out this interview. There's a lot of things about our relationship to animals that come up during it. And for those of you who haven't read it, I very much encourage you to buy her latest book, which is called Justice for Animals, and check out our episode on Overthink entitled Animal Justice. It's available now wherever you get your podcasts.